What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about a body language trick that can make guys more attracted to you and make you more attractive. Before I start this video, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur who wants to grow their online business, convert more sales and make more money without spending thousands on business coaching and things like that, click the link below for a video of me sharing a tool that I'm personally using to grow my business right now. Now, before I start, understand something. I'm not necessarily telling y'all to do this. I'm just telling you about this to make you more aware because a lot of people don't know. Do it if you want or don't do it. If it's too unnatural, don't worry about it. Now, a lot of women I speak to find that while they're attractive enough, a lot of men don't really respond to them, or that men aren't giving them very much energy or chemistry. Even on dates, a lot of them complain about guys not really giving off any attraction vibes, even though they're nice looking. They often say everything feels workplace appropriate or professional. To me, this is usually an indication that that woman may be muting her sexuality in some way. Maybe naturally, maybe by habit, maybe by her body language, maybe by how she carries herself. Muted sexuality contributes to a lot of these issues. Not getting attention from men, or never really having any chemistry with the guy. Unfortunately enough, that often leads to them getting ignored and friend-zoned a lot. Now, with that said, I know it's very difficult to get someone to go against their own nature. Women who aren't flirty can't just become flirty women overnight. Women who aren't naturally seductive can't just turn on a switch that they don't have. I know this. But with that said, I want to kick some neuroscience game to you. Our brains are wired to fill in the blanks and complete the processes that we see around us. If I show you a picture of half of a person's face, you'll naturally try to imagine the other half. If you watched a video of someone falling, you'd shriek as if you were falling, because you imagine the impact of the fall on your body and not just on their body. If someone cuts or injures themselves in front of us, it's hard to watch because we automatically imagine that pain and that sensation happening to our own body. It's an automatic response. Even when we watch horror movies, we imagine ourselves being chased and hunted by someone. Our body responds to the fear being projected on screen. Or I could go even further, like how we all get hot and bothered while watching a good love scene. Our bodies, in an attempt to connect to what we're witnessing or seeing, often gives us a rush of sensations to connect us to the experience. Those experiences that we watch or witness someone else having that appear to be pleasurable create desire in us. Like when we see someone cooking or eating some food that looks really good. Our mouths water. Our bodies physically respond to watching something that appears to be pleasurable. Our bodies start to physically prepare us for the sensation of tasting the good food, even if it's just on TV and we're nowhere near it. So like I said, sensations that appear to be pleasurable ignite desire. But sensations that appear to be painful ignite fear. So what are you saying, Kevin? Get to the point. Sure. The times I've been extremely attracted to women who weren't flirting with me, who weren't trying to seduce me, women who seemed to have no care at all whether or not I was attracted to them, the women who always seemed much more alluring sexually, the women with the highest and most powerful presence of sexual energy, were the women who touched themselves more than the average women I knew. Not in a sexual way, but in a self-soothing way. There have been countless times in my life where I hadn't even thought about touching a woman sexually until I saw her rub her own leg or some other part of her body slowly in a self-soothing way. Not sexually, but casually. To see a woman rub her thighs or legs actually caused me to notice her thighs and legs. I could go from pretty indifferent to thinking to myself, damn, she is kind of thick though. My curiosity was always piqued when I seen a woman touch herself in a way that probably wouldn't have been appropriate for a stranger to touch her, but in a way that also wasn't very sexual. It couldn't have been confused for seduction. Women who self-soothe in that way are often very much more attractive than the women who don't. They're also more naturally seductive. Some women, when talking to guys or sitting around guys, get nervous about what to do with their hands, so they often cross their arms or put their thumbs in their pockets to stiffen their body language in an attempt to control what they're giving off. This, in many cases, neutralizes your sexual energy. Sometimes to let your hands travel out of nervousness is actually a better option. It can look more natural. When a woman who's speaking to a guy casually rubs or touches herself in places that would naturally be off limits to those guys, Men naturally, because of how the brain works, will often start to imagine his hands where yours are, even if he's unattracted to you. That's not to say that it'll be a pleasurable image in his head, but it is to say he'll recognize you as a sexual being in that moment, if he notices. If you look up the body language of attraction, self-touch is one of the first things they often put on the list. It's common knowledge to those who study body language that those who want to be touched often touch themselves. But a point made far less is that men who are witnessing a woman casually rub or caress herself to self-soothe are also processing attraction. As in running her hands over her hips or her thighs or her low back or her neck or shoulders while talking to a guy. Those things are actually creating attraction. It's that intelligent design that we have, some of the subconscious abilities that we exercise and not even know it. If I'm being honest, I remember every woman who made a habit out of rubbing her thighs while we sat down as she spoke to me, complaining about being cold. The ones who rubbed their collarbones and their necks, the ones who did it to warm themselves up or to respond to the nervous energy of being attracted to me. They would say, I'm so cold, I'm so sore, I'm so hungry, or I'm so nervous. While their hands moved across their legs, hips, thighs, butt, back, necks, chest, and all over places. Casually, not sexually, it wasn't flirty. It was just how they self-soothed. But I've also known women to do this on purpose. In the dancing industry, in the acting industry, in the modeling industry, they often use self-touch to create a sexual tension in the picture, to telegraph the sexual energy. Many times the women who do this type of thing can inadvertently create an image in a man's mind of his hands instead of your hands, delivering that comfort, helping you self-soothe, among other things. And again, if an experience appears to be pleasurable, it breeds desire. I remember every self-soother because the attraction I had for them was a direct result from my brain trying to bridge the gap and wanting to break the touch barrier to complete that process. My hands wanted to feel what her hands felt. Why do you think the idea of helping a woman apply suntan lotion or oil has always been so alluring to men? Why they stuck it in so many spring break movies and romantic comedies over the years? To this day, every spring break movie has a lotion scene or some kind of suntan oil scene in it. It has nothing to do with the lotion. Even if it's innocent, it creates tension for the viewer. Story time. In 2009, I was desperate for any kind of win, any kind of professional adult success. I was trying everything. One day I decided, I'm going to be a model. That's what I'll do. I can be a model and be a commercial actor. Being tall, handsome, well-built. I could take some pictures. I could walk some runway. I went through a whole modeling program. I learned to walk the runway. I learned to do commercials. I learned how to project myself to a company on an audition. But when the time came to take the photos, that's when it got hard. The big 150 picture photo shoot was insanely difficult for me. I had to turn part of my ego off just to get through it. In a large percentage of the pictures, the female photographer, who knew what she was doing and was actually great at her job, kept wanting me to touch my body in some way. And immediately, subconsciously, I connected that with sexy woman behavior. She was like, grab them big, gorgeous muscles of yours. She flirted the whole time, but it was odd to me. I think I might have even said out loud, man, what the hell am I doing here? In all the pictures that were meant to be sexy or create desire in a woman looking at the pictures, I had to be touching me. I did an 8-week in-person course. I took 150 pictures on the last day, and after that photo shoot, they never saw my black ass again. The point is, it was required from her. It's required in the acting industry, in the modeling industry. Dancers do it. The most seductive women in the world have picked this up as a habit or a practice because they understand its value. Our brains are wired to fill in the blanks and complete the processes. First for the sensation of ourselves, but also for causing a sensation in you, comforting you, soothing you, and ultimately our mind travels to experiencing pleasure with you. Now that thought may repulse him. It's possible. But he'll have it. Once a man's mind is awakened to your energy, everything you do becomes more attractive, or slightly more sexual. And the women who do this accomplish it easily enough in work and public places out in the world, without raising many antennas, because it's subtle. A fully clothed woman touching her own thigh doesn't appear to be an overtly sexual activity. Men often don't even recognize what it is when they see it. They just realize that they become more attracted to you. Most don't realize that it's a subtle display for them, especially if you aren't looking at them when you do it. They think they've just observed the sexy thing about you, not that they were pulled in. Most of the times you can do it without appearing inappropriate or unprofessional. And you can ramp up the intensity if you like, if you know a particular guy that you're trying to do this with and you're not in a professional setting. You can actually do it intentionally in his face, and he still can't necessarily resist the urge of replacing your hands with his hands in his mind, even for a split second. It's often an automatic response. So in a way, it telegraphs sexual energy. Casual self-soothing multiplies desire in men. And I'm not sure why it never gets talked about. This, paired with strategic eye contact, can be extremely powerful. I've had a lot of conversations with men where neither one of us knew why we were more attracted to a woman until I figured that out. Dudes be standing around like, she been looking good lately. They might not ever catch it. Now listen, I know some of y'all don't have this in you, so this ain't for everybody. Women dancers, models, actresses, and sexy women all over the world use a display of self-touch to ignite the desire of men around them. There are many ways to subtly and strategically do this public and privately to create awareness of your sexuality without ever saying a word or without ever flirting with the guy directly. The seductress knows her own body, but women with boring body language who don't appear to have a sensual relationship with themselves often experience less desire from men. They also experience more friend zoning. This is obviously to not be overdone. And just because a man desires you doesn't mean he should have you. Making a man grow in his mental and emotional connections with you as he waits to fulfill his desire is how love is grown. Anyway, I've ranted far too long already. That's all I got for now. Follow me at KFIG24 on Instagram. If you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, check out the link in the description. I'll get with y'all later.